Hello. Once again, thanks for joining us on the Sandcap Guide podcast. Today, we're very lucky to have Tracie Lantz, the owner or co-owner of Three Crafty Ladies. And it's a business that's been on the island for many years, located right across from our studio here on Periwinkle. And how long has it been here, Tracie? How long has it been on the island?
So the business really originally started in 1973.
Wow.
But the name wasn't officially Three Crafty Ladies until around 75.
Okay.
And that came down to an issue with the city of Sanibel.
Yeah, I was reading that on your website. So explain that. That was an interesting story, I thought.
The original owner, who was also the last remaining owner of Three Crafty Ladies before it was sold a couple of times, she moved down as a retired teacher, and she purchased an existing framing business. And from there, she started adding art supplies and other things. And after a couple of years, she was introduced to a few other ladies who also were interested in art. One was a leather worker, and the other one was a potter. And so they joined forces, and they had their three separate businesses in one unit, which actually used to be, is currently the antique store right up the road.
I was going to ask you where it was.
Yeah, It was in the antique store. I don't know if it was that building, but it's that land.
Okay.
And so on the road, they called it Three Crafty Ladies. But inside, it was three separate businesses.
Gotcha.
And Sanibel...
Which is a no-no on Sanibel.
Yeah, so that's why they had to call it Three Crafty Ladies, because the Sanibel said one name. Can't call it three separate things, because it's one unit, one name.
Right, and they came up, which is clever, to do the Three Crafty Ladies.
Yes, exactly. So over time, it just stuck. And, eventually one moved away, the other moved away, and the original owner became the last owner again.
Oh, really?
Yes. So she stuck it out for almost 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. Especially since it was kind of her second career.
Right.
And then she sold it briefly to another woman who didn't want the shop to close because, Trudy, the original owner, she said, if it doesn't sell by this date, I'm closing it. I'm done.
Gotcha.
And so another woman stepped in and bought it. Made some improvements, brought it up to modern. We didn't have a real cash register.
Oh, wow.
We had like a corded
or
phone.
Something.
Yeah, it was like the old kind with the buttons and the little drawer would pop up, So no computers, no website, very basic. Yeah. So she moved the store down a few units in our current mall, which is heart of the island.
Yep.
And modernized it. And then I started working for her about a year after she took over.
And what year was that?
That was...
Thinking back in the time.
2010, late 2010, early 2011, somewhere in there. So I worked for her for about a year, yep. And then she approached us and said, are you interested in taking over? I have other things. I have to go back to my family. And
right.
So is it you and your mom? Or?
It's me and my mom, yeah.
Okay.
We call my dad the third crafty lady, but but technically it's me and my mom. So she does the classes and she makes our samples and
all right. Well, before we get there, let's talk a little bit about what the store is to start with before we get ahead of ourselves. And basically, if it's the island's haberdashery, it's got the.
Ooh, that's a fancy word.
Well, isn't that what it is?
I don't think. I think haberdashery is a hat maker.
I'm pretty sure. Was it? What is the term for someone? Okay. All right. Well, that was silly.
It's a craft store.
It's a craft store.
It's a craft boutique.
Let's keep it. So basically, it sells materials, crafts,
handwork, so cross stitch, needlepoint embroidery. We have yarns, we have buttons, we have jewelry supplies, scrapbooking, stamping, and then of course our quilting and our whole art section, which is quite a few mediums in itself.
Wow.
Okay, so tell us a little bit.
I would like to interject.
Yeah, go for that.
The British definition of haberdashery
okay, go for it.
is a business or person who sells small articles for sewing and knitting, such as buttons, ribbons, and zips.
Thank you.
Now spell haberdashery.
Yeah.
Oh no! Now you want to just make me look silly. Let's bury me. Now I've got been proved right. You just want it.
The North American definition is men's clothing. So
okay.
So not a hat maker. What's a hat maker?
That's a milliner.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
All right,
everyone's
I'm
ready.
totally wrong on anything.
I can never get any
so.
credit. Maybe.
You do.
Milner, maybe. Let's go on, Max. While we're on the subject, what is it's a hat maker is a Milner, isn't it?
James Milner is an English soccer player.
Okay. That's close enough.
That's close enough.
All right. So
Okay.
back to Tracie and her Three Crafty Ladies. I love that your dad's the third crafty lady. That's so cute.
That's hilarious.
That's cute. And you guys are from New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how did you
we're
end up?
from Central New Jersey.
Yeah.
When my parents first got married, my dad came to Sanibel for a conference, and somebody told him about it, so we took the conference, and they came down and ended up buying a timeshare at Tortuga Beach Club.
Yeah.
And we were there for 30-something years. We'd come every spring break to Tortuga
Holy
Beach
cow.
Club.
Right.
Yeah. We'd come, we'd rent bikes from Billy's, we'd get on the Surreys, all that good stuff.
Right.
Go to
classics.
7-Eleven. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in 2008, when the market crashed, my parents were like, well, it's a good time to buy on Sanibel. And we were here for our timeshare, and they started looking at some real estate and ended up buying a house just by the lighthouse down on the East End.
Okay.
And I had taken a break from college. I went to college for a year, and then I worked in New York City for a year.
Were you in crafts of some sort in college, or how did you,
no.
what kind of?
I was a psychology major, turned business major,
Right.
turned jewelry design person.
Right.
When I worked in New York, I worked for a high-end jewelry and handbag designer.
Really.
And I worked with the jewelry exchange people a lot. And
Cool.
yeah, I thought about going back to school for that. And I said, well, it's a very high-stress lifestyle.
Right.
So my parents bought their house when I was kind of about a year into that. And so I said, well, if I get into school in Fort Myers, I applied to FGCU. I knew I would get in because
Right.
I had great grades, and it was still small.
And at that
the
time, it was tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed
So-
like a lot now.
I know,
Which is
I don't even recognize it when I drive by.
Florida Gulf Coast University.
Yes, yeah, Florida Gulf Coast. So I said, if I get in there, I'll
coming
move
down.
down. I'll try it out. So I got in, I moved down, and about a month after I moved here, I started a job at the campus bookstore, and I met my husband on the first day.
No way.
No
It
way.
was fate.
Yeah, and he's a local boy, so we stayed.
And you've been here ever
Oh, that's
since.
awesome.
Yeah, been
That's
here ever
awesome.
since.
And is he in the business with you?
Is he at the fourth
No.
crafty lady?
He is not crafty.
He's not.
He is not even comfortable coming in most of the time.
Really?
He's very out of his element. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's
so trying to get him to do crafts with our kids is comical,
Right.
to say the least. But
Super cute.
All right, so give us a couple of examples. I see you brought some things with you. Give us a couple of examples of the things that you do there. So you can obviously go in there and buy all your materials and all the
yes.
bits and bobs that are needed for your own projects, but also you have some things that you do with other people yourself, don't you?
Yeah, well, we have, of course, our tropical theme. So lots of fabric. So, here's a great example. This is a batik fabric. It's a hand-dyed fabric, all tropical fish
pretty.
and coral. Yep. It's
Nice.
really very nice, bold. We do these lovely tropical bright colors. This is one of my favorite new ones. It's a seashell print. Really happy
Obviously,
fabric.
for Sanibel. Yep.
Exactly.
Gotta do
And
the-
then for Sanibel, we also have to have our manatees. So
Yeah,
we've got those
perfect.
guys, lots
Nice.
of manatees.
So lots of islandy stuff that you
yes.
wouldn't normally see in a normal.
So tell
Exactly.
me
It's
about
very
the
tropical
fabric.
themed.
Isn't there a fabric club?
We do. We have,
tell us about
we have
the
a couple
fabric
different
club.
clubs. So we have our Fat Quarter Club, which is fat quarter is a quilting term. It's a funny
Okay.
term. Everybody, it's just like, what's a fat quarter?
Yeah, explain what a fat quarter is.
So it's a specific size piece of fabric. It's basically a quarter yard, but instead of being a little skinny strip, like a quarter yard is only 9 inches wide, it's double the width but half the length. So it's 18 inches by 22 inches
Okay.
instead of 9 inches by 44
Got
inches.
it. I've always wondered what a fat quarter was.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we have our Fat Quarter Club because the fat quarters are very popular. They're great for a huge number of projects, whether it's sewing or crafting. And we do 6 fat quarters bi-monthly, or we do a half yard club quarterly.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
you curate fabric for that, and then you send it out to...
Yeah, so we have a boutique themed group, which is those hand-dyed fabrics, and they get kind of a rainbow assortment every shipment. Or we have our nautical and landscape, which is usually, you know, your shells, your fish, your palm trees, all those beautiful beachy fabrics that all of our customers can't find anywhere else.
Oh, very cool.
So you send them a sampling once a month, is that? Or
A bi-monthly shipment of 6 fat quarters, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so there'll be either a curated set of 6 or 2 groupings of 3 and 3.
Okay, and then do you ship all over the United States, all over
We
the
ship
world? or-
internationally.
You
Yes,
do, really?
we have most of our customers in our clubs right now are domestic, but I have one customer who's a longtime member of the clubs, and she lives in England.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we do have quite a few international customers.
Right.
And they're used for quilting the fabrics or
Primarily,
anything.
but you can use them
whatever.
for anything. And people that like mixed media or handwork, you know, whether embroidery, things like that, you
Right.
can use fabric for anything.
Yeah.
Right. What a cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool to get somebody that for a gift, too.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody you can't
we,
think of
We have a
what to
couple
buy for.
husbands that have signed up for that reason.
Yeah.
Their wife gets the bi-monthly shipment. Yeah.
Right. So it's just fun to open it up and see what, and then it inspires you to make different things with it. Very cool. I love that. All right, so we got the fabric. What else did you bring for us?
So, of course, we have our selection of our Iki Matsumoto
And explain it to everybody.
county cross stitch. So,
Iki.
Iki Matsumoto is very famous on the islands. He was a longtime artist here. He did T-shirts for various art shows, and he was in many of the galleries. Him and his wife have both passed away in recent years, but they were very famous artists.
Yeah.
So his artwork is highly collectible. And we have a cross-stitch company out of Tampa, another small woman-owned company. We try to work with as many of those as we can. She licensed some of his artwork and translated it into counted cross stitch.
That's
Oh,
cool.
awesome.
So we have several of his famous pieces
Right.
available.
About how many do you have? Do you know?
Of Icky's work? Probably, I would say at least 6. At least 6, and then we have another 6 or so pieces of her work, which is also, of course, tropically inspired.
Right.
Including our chart of Sanibel. It's got the island and some tropical themes and the lighthouse in the corner. And
Very cool.
yeah, she did a couple of shell pieces for us that say Sanibel and Captiva. So
Right. You got a
Awesome.
Junonia? Do you know?
there is not surprisingly a Junonia available.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Max
You
has
need to
just
do
pulled
that.
up one of...
There's an example of Iki Matsumoto.
There you go.
He's
Yeah.
very
Very
Yes.
famous for his
nature
herons.
stuff.
I love his stuff.
Yeah.
It's a real sort of clean style that was really popular in the
Yes.
80s, 90s. And
And then it kind of went out of favor, and now I think it's really back.
Yeah.
I
That
love it.
watercolor aspect is very popular in all mediums now. You know, you're seeing it in fabric. They're printing them to look like they were watercolor painted,
Yeah.
as well as many other mediums.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, very cool. That's
Yeah.
sounds like fun. And then I see you have some more
yeah.
stuff.
So I also brought one of our quilts. This one is one that we designed a few years back, and it's got the Sanibel Lighthouse. It's called Osprey Landing. We sell it as a pattern or a kit on our website, but it's all applique. So it's raw edge applique. So you're tracing out your designs, you're cutting them out with a special product called fusible web. It's basically a sheet of glue. You cut the designs out on the sheet of glue, and then you stick them onto your quilt and iron them in place. So
Oh,
it's nice
okay.
and
Cool.
easy.
So,
So that's sold as
Yeah.
like a kit.
Yes.
And then you can do it. You take it home and
Do
it's
it
got the
yourself.
instructions. Do it yourself.
Yep,
That's
exactly. Yeah. So we have our whole own line of patterns and kits, all Sanibel themed.
so then you would put that square into a larger quilt? Is that what
you
people
could,
normally do
you
with
could
it?
make it into a pillow. This
Oh,
one
yeah,
has
that'd
a
be good.
hanging sleeve so that you can just put a dowel in the back and it just hangs right like that.
Okay.
So we call them wall quilts since they're small.
Right.
But we have had many customers buy multiple blocks of ours and make larger pieces as well.
Put 'em
We
all
had
together.
we had someone in our Facebook group ask what to do when you're sick of the sun and you want to spend some time inside. And that stuff like that would be perfect for just getting out of the
Yes.
sun and doing some Sanibel stuff.
Exactly.
Sit on your screen porch overlooking the Gulf.
And small
Stitch
projects
away.
like this are great because you can stitch this by hand. But if you are not that patient like myself, I have a set of sewing machines that we rent out at the shop.
Oh, you do?
So
We
tell us
have
about
two
that.
machines.
Okay.
So we have a couple of machines. They're very user friendly for people who, we have advanced sewers, and then we have people who, yes, I used to sew 20 years ago and I want to
Get
make
back
some
into it,
things,
or-
but I don't want a machine that's entirely
The
a
bells and
computer.
whistles?
Yeah.
Right.
Because the sewing machines now are over the top.
So they have to come in and use them, or they actually take them
no,
from
they
the
take
shop?
them home. Yep. So they can take it. We have a day, week, 2 week, 3 week, and month rates.
No way.
Yeah. So the day is 24 hours. And that's our most popular. We have a lot of our condo owners who rent out their units, and they need to do repairs when they
Gotcha.
come
Fix the
down.
curtains
Fix
or-
the curtains, fix the bed skirts, fix the pillows. And then we have a lot of people who come and they just can't bring their sewing machine. It's too hard to travel with luggage anymore, let alone a sewing machine.
Right.
So,
Actually, just going on to that, that's actually probably more popular than you might know. I was doing a job up in Captiva, and there's a house. I won't mention where it is or who the owners were.
Who
but
was it?
There was it recently sold for 22 million, I think. But anyway, it gives you an idea. And I
Holy
walked
crap.
into the front door, and literally there was probably 15 just foldable, those 6 foot foldable desks up with all sewing machines on.
Wow.
And apparently the owner's wife was big time into quilting and crafts, and she'd gone away for years and years and years with these people, and she'd invited them to her house. So they were all having
Wow.
they
Like
were
a
having
craft
this-
quilting
yeah,
bee.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I didn't know it was that popular, but yeah.
yes, it is a big, big thing. I mean, there was another shop locally that used to do quilting cruises.
Oh,
So,
Really?
yeah.
Well, that's where she'd met some of these ladies on a quilting cruise.
There you go.
Yeah.
They all
so,
came.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
What kind of boat do you quilt? It must be a big boat. You're quilting cruising. That's crazy.
How'd you make it waterproof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Waterproof
did-
quilting.
I saw on your website too, you invite quilting tour, or not tours, but clubs can come and to your tour your thing. No.
Oh, yes. You mean we invite groups to come and shop with us as a guild. You
Yeah,
know, so
that's
they'll-
the word I was looking for was
Yeah.
guild. And
The
it would not
guild.
come to mind.
We do
Yes.
have some guilds in the area, and then we do have just a group on the island of wonderful ladies that quilt, and they do a lot of donation quilts.
Oh, really?
Yes. They
What is
meet
the group
once a
called?
week.
Do you know?
It's called the Joyful Peacemakers. Yeah, 'cause
Cute.
quilting is also piecing when you're quilting, so that's where they came up with the name. So
Clever.
the Joyful Peacemakers. Yep, they meet once a week on the island.
Just at somebody's house? Do they meet? Do you know?
They
or one of the
meet-
churches?
I have it written down at the store. They meet at one of the churches. Yes, the Sanibel Congregational Church, I believe.
Right.
I'm not sure what's been happening with COVID. I think they are meeting again, but the hours and day may have changed a little
Right.
bit.
Gotcha.
But yes, we invite groups. So we get groups. They rent a bus or they bring a couple cars and they come, and we try to have the store closed, make it more personal for them, offer some different little fun incentives. We do, pull coupons out of a hat, things like that.
So if somebody was going to come on, I mean, after they see this, or in any situation, they decide to come to the island and take up some crafting while they're here, what's the best way to connect with you? Do you have social media? You doing?
We do. Honestly, I'm not the best at keeping up with it. For somebody my age, I'm not a fan of social media.
This should be a job for your husband, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. But phone and our email through our website usually is the fastest.
Okay.
Phone, we're one of the only businesses that tries to answer the phone every time it rings.
That's good.
By that second or third ring at the most, so we can answer questions. And it's always nice to talk to somebody,
Right, for sure.
instead of a computer or a voicemail. So phone.
And what's your general hours? I know you change during
Yeah,
season.
so we
but-
have 2 sets of hours. Our off-season hours are usually March through the end of November, and those are Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 4. And then in December, we start our high season hours, so we add Sundays on. So it's Sundays, 11 to 3.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
7 days a week.
And
Seven
just for
days a
those listening, what is your telephone number?
It's 239-472-2893.
One more time.
That'll be in the description. It'll be in the description.
Below.
And your website is threecraftyladies.com.
Correct.
Yep.
All spelled
also
out.
in the description.
And yes. And your social media is at Three Crafty Ladies?
Mm-hmm. We do have a Facebook and an Instagram account.
Okay.
Yep.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Do people share the stuff that they make from their fat quarters?
Sometimes they do, yeah. Sometimes they do, either on the Facebook or they send us emails. And if they give permission, then we try to repost it on the Facebook.
That'd be neat to see what people actually make out of their box of fabrics.
It is. It's amazing when we get those tags on Facebook. It's always like, wow, across the country, somebody's working on our piece.
Isn't that cool? That's cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then you do have activities, right, in the shop?
So we've got our craft activities. We do those Monday through Friday by appointment right now because of COVID. We're trying to just do single families at a time to be respectful of that, with the masks being more optional again. So,
and you brought some examples of.
Yeah, so I brought one in. This is our most popular one. It's a product called alcohol ink. And no, you cannot drink it. We get that request a lot. No, you can't drink it. Right. It won't be good. But it's a special solvent-based dye, and what you do is you can drip it or dab it onto a huge variety of surfaces. And this is a special background paper called Yupo, Y-U-P-O. It's a synthetic paper, and you can apply the inks to that, and then you just cut it out, and it's glued right on the back of these beautiful wood shapes that we have, and we've got a huge variety. Here's another one. Our famous Sanibel Pelican. Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So all of them are engraved with Sanibel. So it's really a nice keepsake.
For sure.
Yeah, and these are awesome because this is also made by another woman-owned company here in Florida.
Okay.
So we've got a few dozen different choices of the wood on that. So we also do a painted seashell activity, and you can use the alcohol inks, or for our younger crafters, we do acrylic paint. It's a little bit less messy for the parents. And we offer bracelet making, which is a big popular one. We've got people that come every year religiously to make their bracelets. Yep.
So
and
the bracelets,
they wear the old ones.
Do they have shells in them, or what do you
They can add shells, but mainly they're glass beads.
Okay.
So it's a stretch cord, and we put out lots of bins of glass beads, and you just dig through, find the ones you like. And we've got charms, we've got metal shapes of different tropical things. We've got all kinds of add-ons that they can include if they want. But if they want to bring some shells, they're welcome to do that too.
Very cool.
So we do the bracelets. We do a seashell suncatcher for people who also want to do beads. And on the bottom, we display one of your seashells.
Okay.
So you go to the beach, you find a beautiful shell, and we hang it on there for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we have a couple other crafts for our younger crafters, some other painting activities. We have a card that we had handmade, and they can color that, which also comes as a kit.
It's all stuff you can do. You do it on your own, right? You set them up with all the materials, and they come in the store, and they can do it all themselves.
Exactly. They come in with their craft ready outfits, and we set them up at our back table, our craft table, and give them a little rundown of the activity. And then periodically we just check in, make sure everybody's on the right track, and finish up the activities for them, like the bracelets. We'll tie it. You don't have to feel like you need to know how to do a surgeon's knot.
And then you have a calendar on your website?
We do. We've got a calendar, the section that talks about our make it and take it activities, those self-guided activities. And it also talks about the taught classes that we offer mainly during season.
Gotcha.
So hopefully, November, December, we'll be able to pick those back up.
Right. And then is that I think you make baskets or?
We do handmade baskets. So you hand wrap a special cording with strips of fabric, and then you machine sew it to create the shape. So it's really a beautiful activity. It makes great gifts. So we do a level 1 and a level 2 course on that. And those are private lessons we do by appointment. And then we have several group workshops that we offer.
Gotcha. And you have a newsletter I think you can sign up for too on your website.
We do. We have a newsletter. Usually goes out every 4 to 6 weeks. I think everybody gets enough emails now that they don't want one every day.
week, right?
Yeah. So every 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes a little bit more if we have something really exciting going on. But the classes, sales, we do a lot of specialty things just for our newsletter customers. And of course, lots of new items always get listed in the newsletter.
Featured.
Do you do much mail order?
We do. Yes, we have a very active website. We were one of the only craft businesses I know that was fortunate to be set up with a great website before COVID hit. So many of the shops were really scrambling because everybody closed down. So we were lucky to be able to continue to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Sanibel was very accommodating to us with COVID and was willing to let us stay open because we were contributing with the face masks so heavily. We made some for the police department here and for many groups of different essential workers. And then of course we were making them for residents and visitors that were kind of stuck here or hunkering down here for a while.
Right, wow. Oh, that's
Were
awesome.
they seashell themed, or did you go all over them?
A lot of them were tropical masks. And of course, at the time, it was spring and summer, so our fabrics worked perfectly. But we did a lot of tropical and a lot of colorful because people said, if I have to wear something on my face, I want it to be fun.
Pretty.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Makes sense.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing I was going to ask you about. What's the Quilters Track?
So the Quilters Track, formerly called Row by Row, is a summer challenge. It was started by a shop in upstate New York many years ago now. I think around 2010, I believe, was when she started it. And it was just for her state originally, and then other states said, wait a minute, this is great. It's a summer challenge. You design your own quilt block, and it gets people in the shop during a time where we're not usually quite so busy.
Slower, right.
Yeah, so after a couple years, it really went through the whole country, and now parts of Canada are involved. There's even some European shops that are involved. But every year has a theme. And so we design a quilt within the theme, and you can travel around to the participating shops. And during the summer, you get a free pattern for the quilt block. And if you prefer, you can also buy a kit with all the fabrics included.
Gotcha.
Yes.
What was the theme this summer?
This year's theme was Pop of Color. So we did a grayscale underwater scene, and then we have this really beautiful, bold jellyfish. And he's our pop of color.
Cute.
Yeah, it's called Dance of the Deep. So it's on our website. You can order the kits on there. The patterns for purchase will be available in September.
Very
Link
cool.
in bio.
Yeah.
Link in
All
bio.
right,
I
Max.
have one last question.
Sure.
I know you may be biased, so you can't say you're going to your own store. The best thing to do on the islands, if you were recommending to a friend coming to visit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know.
I know, Three Crafty Ladies is so exciting.
Yeah,
I know.
I think one of my favorite things about Sanibel is all the conservation that we have here. So I would probably say Ding Darling.
Yeah.
If it was somebody that was willing to get up early enough, I would say Ding Darling
Yeah.
because of just the sheer amount of wildlife and beauty that you can find in there. And it really, I think, characterizes Sanibel so well.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Cool. Awesome.
Most people say the beaches, so we got a
the beaches are our favorite
a good
too,
new
but-
response.
But Ding Darling is just, it's its own unique
Oh,
beauty.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
I haven't been in so long. I need to go soon.
Yeah.
So basically,
get-
a 4-mile track that you can drive. You can drive, you can bike, you can walk.
Yeah.
If you're up to walking 4
I'm
miles.
not sure. They were doing like a trolley tour, I
Yes.
think, as well, but I'm not sure if that's resumed or not.
Right. So, yeah, definitely a must when you come to the islands. Go to Ding Darling.
All right.
Awesome.
And I think we have some trivia to end it out.
All right. Are you ready for this,
hit me
Tracy?
Yeah.
All right, bring it on.
Oh, before we
Let's talk
continue,
about haberdashers.
yeah.
Yeah. Spell haberdashery.
Before we
For 10
continue, this is a
points.
message to David Simmons. On the last episode, you commented and said you wanted to send me some trivia. I gave you my email and you never emailed me some trivia. I'm very disappointed in you, David. If you want to find my email, it's on the comment on the last episode.
Right. And if anybody
Looking
has
forward to hearing
trivia
from you, David.
questions to provide for Max,
Yeah.
Email
try to
me
stump us.
maxwelladams98@gmail.com.
yes. Max keeps trying to stump us, but we keep beating him.
All right.
Okay. So you got a pen and paper there, Tracy.
Oh, yeah. Here's yours, Tracy.
Okay. So I got to write down my answers. Okay.
Yeah.
And don't show Nick because he tries to cheat.
He tries to cheat because he hasn't won yet.
I've won. Don't worry, Tracy. Just ignore them. They're just jealous.
Okay. Our first one. Off of Purdy Lane and behind Tahitian Gardens.
That's Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y.
Yep, right behind Tahitian Gardens and Cheeseburger. Lies a lane named after the color of this uniquely billed bird. It's a local bird, by the way. They do live here.
Oh, okay. Uniquely billed. Okay. I think I've got it. I don't know.
It is named after the color of this uniquely billed bird.
Off of Purdy Lane. All right.
Yep.
We're ready. I think everybody's written. Thank you.
Dad, you want to go first?
I've got Rosette.
Yes.
I put Rosette.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yes.
All right. 3 points all around.
Yay.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Is it Rosette or Rosiette?
Roseate.
Yes.
Are you trying to correct him?
Roseate Spoonbill.
I mean,
Yes,
that's what I
Rosette.
said. It's just my accent.
And then a follow-up question. Why are roseate spoonbills roseate?
Oh, I know.
Why are they that color? Why are they pink? What about them?
Okay.
You don't seem so confident, Mom.
I think I know, but I don't know.
You want me to go?
Yeah, Dad, go ahead.
Because they eat krill and shrimp. It is pink.
I put what they eat.
Yeah. So did I.
Yeah, their diet. It is their diet.
Yay!
Okay.
All right. Wow.
Do
All
I
right,
get,
tie game.
But do I not get an extra point because I actually named what they eat?
Well, according to Wikipedia, they eat crustaceans, so I don't even know if shrimp are crustaceans, are they?
Yeah, they got shells.
Okay, who knows? No, you don't get an extra point. Dad, you get an extra 1/6 of a point.
To get 1 point. Anyway.
We gave Dad 1/6 of a point last week, so you have 2 this week, so stop complaining.
Okay. My next
What
answer
is
might be
this a
tough.
picture of?
It's a spoon because he's feeding.
Oh, I thought maybe it was a shrimp.
No, it's a spoon.
I wasn't sure what that was.
All right, our last question.
Or a tadpole.
In the middle of Ding Darling Preserve, there is this bay named for the fact that it resembles this floating yellow bath time toy.
What? Say that again?
I did not know this.
There is
I know the
a
answer,
bay
but
named for the fact that it resembles this floating yellow bath time toy.
Rubber ducky?
Yeah.
Did you write it down?
I mean, what would you?
That's what I wrote down. But yeah, I didn't know that was.
Why would you just say the answer?
Is that it? That's not named Rubber Ducky.
There is a bay called Rubber Ducky Bay.
Is there?
I was looking on Google Maps looking for questions, and there is actually a bay. I'm going to pull it up right now so you all can see it.
I don't believe that. I've never heard that. Have you heard of that,
No,
Tracy?
I've never heard that either. But
No.
Here it is.
Tracy, you said you put rubber ducky.
I did.
You
well,
did?
if you can read my chicken
Yeah.
scratch.
You did. She did as
But
well.
yeah.
That is Rubber Ducky Bay.
Which one?
The
In the mid, the one that looks like a rubber ducky.
Wow.
Oh,
There you go.
That's it. Yeah.
There you
I
go,
can see
Rubber
it.
Ducky Bay.
Rubber ducky bay. Okay, we learned something.
The more you know.
every day.
The more you know.
So
That's.
bonus
I think
point
that's
for me.
the first 3 for all 3 people.
You
All
leave me
right.
hanging. Yeah.
Dad, it's your first win, I think, if you count that as a win.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
Was that it, Max?
That's it.
All right. Anything you want to add, Tracy? Anything that we didn't talk about? Anything that people should know about Three Crafty Ladies?
Just that it's worth a visit. You know, even if
Absolutely.
you're not
Definitely.
a crafter, there is so much just to take in, to look at. You know, so Sanibel inspired that people who aren't crafters come in and they're like, wow, now I really want to try to make something.
Yeah.
And we, as Max and I went over there too. Obviously, Tracy is one of our sponsors, and we thank her very much for that. So and support us, helping creation of different things. But Max and I were over there doing some social media, and there's a ton of other stuff in there, like Tracy said, like there's puzzles and there was different things that caught our eye that
Right.
if you're not necessarily into sewing, there's
Which
stuff.
puzzles are amazing for when you're on vacation.
Oh,
Well,
our last
especially this
vacation.
time of year when
Yeah.
it's raining all the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
lo-
catch yourself with some rain, there is definitely infinite things to do with Three
Yeah.
Crafty Ladies to
Yeah,
keep
keep those
you and your
kids busy
kids
too.
entertained. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. I do appreciate it. It's been fascinating. And please, everybody, make sure you stop by Three Crafty Ladies.
What's the address?
1628 Periwinkle Way.
Which is basically about halfway down Periwinkle on the right-hand side, just before you get to Jerry's store on the right-hand side.
In a strip plaza called the
Heart of the Island
Shops.
Yep, big teal sign. Just look for that big teal Heart of the Island sign.
So stop in, say hi, say you saw her on here, and thanks very much for joining us. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one. I'd just like to thank our supporters, Bailey's General Store, Spoondrift Island Bowls, Three Crafty Ladies, and GatorBites Taylor Now. Without them, this content would not be possible.